going on, guys? Welcome to another Pokemon XY Wi-Fi battle. So I just got challenged by this passerby, and this is a live battle. So just bear with me while I try to adjust the quality of the video. So let's see how we go. Anyway, you can see he's got the Sizzle, but I actually have a Sizzle of my own. I also have a Ferrothorn of my own, so I'm expecting him to probably lead off with maybe his Volcarona. We actually have a very similar team, so I do have a Weavile as well. So let's go ahead anyway. I'm gonna go pretty much send out my Arcanine first. I'm gonna lead off with my Scizor as well. So Arcanine and Scizor I think is a decent lead for him. Let's go ahead and see how we go anyway. Actually, not scratch that. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to lead off with my Aerodactyl and my Arcanine first. Alright, so that's the best quality I can do, unfortunately. So I'll lead off with my Arcanine. He's going to lead off with his Suicune. It's going to be basically the boring genetic stuff Suicune does. Probably Calm Mind, Scald, probably a Rest and a Raw set. So I'm actually going to switch out now because there's nothing much I can do. I'm going to straight away send out my Ferrothorn. So there's the Calm Mind, very typical set for a Suicune. So at this point, he's probably going to switch out into his Magneton and trap me. But in any case, anyway, I'm going to go for my Stealth Rocks. I think it's more important to get the Stealth Rocks. He actually decides to stay in, surprisingly. So he's going to roar me out. So yeah, it must be so what I plan to do now, I'm actually going to go for a Sword Dance. See what he wants to do. Might go for another Calm Mind. So he's going to go for a Scald and try to burn me. Luckily I don't actually get burned. I'm going to go straight for the Bug Bite just to get some damage off on this thing. So let's see how much a +2 Bug Bite will do. And it does a decent amount of damage. So unfortunately my Sizzle does go down, but that's perfectly fine. I did a decent amount of damage on that Suicune. It does have leftovers, unfortunately. So at this point, what I want to do, I'm probably going to go back into my Ferrothorn and get a Leech Seed off on this thing. So let's try to get a Leech Seed on. Hopefully it doesn't miss. So he's going to withdraw, and it's actually the Volcarona. So I'm really hoping I don't miss the Leech Seed. Luckily I do land it. So I don't know if he's going to go for a Roost or a Quiver Dance. I don't really want to get rid of my Ferrothorn just yet. So I am going to actually send out my Garchomp. He might go for a Roost, a Quiver Dance, I'm not sure. But my Garchomp is Choice Scarfed, so I should still be able to outspeed it. So he does go for a Quiver Dance. Unfortunately for him, as I said, it is a Choice Scarfed Garchomp, so I am going to be able to outspeed it in the next turn. So let's go for an Earthquake. So he does have a Weavile. That's probably the most ideal switch in for a Garchomp. If he decides to do send out the Weavile, I am going to go straight into probably my Arcanine. Just to get the Intimidate off, and he might go for a knockoff, so we'll see how we go anyway, see what he decides to send in. So there's the Weavile as expected. Luckily Weavile is very weak to Stealth Rock, so that's going to do about 20% of his health, and I'm going to go straight into my Arcanine as I said, just to get the Intimidate off. If he goes for a knockoff, that's perfectly fine, doesn't bother me at all. So he's going to go for an Icicle Crush. And I'm actually going to probably expect his Suicune to come back out. So what I'll do, I'm actually going to send out my... I'll probably send out my Ferrothorn again. I am expecting the Suicune to come out. Let's see if he does decide to switch out to the Suicune. So he is going to switch out, and it is the Suicune. So some great predictions on my part. Definitely not my first battle, so it is pretty obvious what these people want to do. He actually rage quit, so there you go guys, he actually did rage quit unfortunately, so it didn't take too long. Let's see if we can find another live battle. Alright guys, I'm back with another live battle, and after a lot of cursing and a lot of swearing, he re-challenged me, the same guy who rage quit, so I accepted his battle anyway. Let's just see if he decides to do the same thing anyway. And what I'm going to do this time, I'm actually going to go and probably lead off with my Ferrothorn again, or maybe not, I'm not sure. He might send out the Volcarona, which would be a huge problem for me. Unfortunately, he's actually decided to change up his team, so he does have a Rain Dance team now, sort of a mixed Rain Dance team, and that Donphan, which I'm sure has Rapid Spin and whatnot. So his Donphan is actually going to be a problem for me because it's very defensive, and the only Pokemon that can take it down is my Weavile. So I'm going to go ahead and send out the Weavile first, just to get a Fake Out and break the Sturdy. So let's see if it decides to actually stick around in this battle. So he's actually going to lead off with his Politoed, just to get the Rain Dance up pretty much. So there's Drizzle. Rain's going to be pouring for, I would say, 7 turns if he's holding the actual Damp Rock. So let's just go for a Fake Out anyway, just to scout out what he wants to do. And judging by that damage, he is definitely a defensive Politoed. So I didn't see any leftovers. I am expecting a Damp Rock on this thing. So it's very crucial for me to try and get my rocks up and a few layers of spikes if I can with my Ferrothorn. And I know there's pretty much nothing you can do unless he does carry the Focus Blast, like I know a lot of them do. However, he decides to go for a Toxic, and that's obviously not going to affect a Steel type. So the only difference with this battle is I did tell him if he does beat me, I will give him a free shiny. So let's see if he does decide to stay for the length of this battle. So there's the rocks. I got my rocks up. I definitely want to get another layer, just my first layer of spikes. He might go for an Ice Beam. Let's see what he decides to go for. He does carry Ice Beam. It's not going to do too much damage. Luckily, I don't get the Freeze Hack. He is Life Orb as well. So there's the spikes. So at this point, I'm pretty much thinking he might send out his Donphan. He's just going to keep going for a Ice Beam, probably hoping for a Freeze Hacks. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to stay into another Ice Beam. I'm actually going to switch out into my Sizzle. It does carry the Lumberry, so if I do get frozen, at least I'll be able to heal that Freeze Hacks off. So I'm going to send out my Shiny Sizzle in a very ugly lime green. And he's actually going to go for a Hydro Pump. So that was a very, very smart move on his part. He actually took out my Sizzle. So that was a very good prediction from him. Let's go ahead and probably send out the Arcanine now. He might go for another Hydro Pump. So I'm going to switch out back into my Ferrothorn. So I basically just luring him in to use a Hydro Pump. So I'm going to switch out into my Ferrothorn again. He does go for a Hydro Pump, and luckily he does miss that one. So just give me 1 sec, guys, because my battery is about to run out. And for this DS, it's a little dangerous because it starts flashing straight away. And let's go ahead and go for another layer of spikes. So the rain has finally stopped, and at this point I'm pretty much just gonna let my Ferrothorn die. Just go for an Iron Head anyway. He might send out his Politoed again, but he doesn't. Just decide to stay in and finish off my Ferrothorn. Okay, so at this point what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to send out my Garchomp. And my Garchomp does carry the Poison Jab, so I'm going to go straight for the Poison Jab. At that range, you should definitely take out the Ludicolo, unless he decides to switch out, which he might. So he stays in, and he's going to take a Poison Jab straight to the face. So here's the Donphan. He's definitely going to go for a Rapid Spin. And at this point what I want to do, I am going to actually send out my Weavile, because I really need to take this Donphan down. So he does go for the Rapid Spin as expected. That's perfectly fine. So I am going to go for an Icicle Crush. So even if it decides to switch in, I'm really happy with that, because I am an adamant nature with a Life Orb. So even if it's resisted, something's going to take some great chip damage. So let's see if it decides to stay in or switch out, maybe into the Politoed, which would be probably the smartest move. Unfortunately, it decides to stay in for some reason and sack off his Donphan. So there's the Polytoad again. And at this point I really just need to get some damage off on this thing. So I'm going to go straight for the Night Flash. And to be honest, I would rather be Toxic than Skull Burn, so his Polytoad is going to go down, but he still has that other rain setter up, that Pelican. I forgot what that Pelican's called. We'll see in a minute anyway, he's going to need to send it out eventually. So here's his Kingdra. And what I'm going to do now, because that obviously has Swift Swim, I'm going to send out my Arcanine just to pretty much take whatever he wants to throw at me, which is probably a Surf or a Scald, maybe a Hydro Pump. So at this point, it's absolutely crucial I try to waste the rain turns. So it does have Scald. And I'm just going to go with a Fake Out. So I'm just going to go for a priority Ice Shard now, just to get some damage on this thing. So rain's still going on, unfortunately. I'm going to send out my Garchomp anyway. I don't think I can outspeed with a Choice Scarf unless he's actually Choice Spec into Scald. But anyway, I'm just going to go straight for the Outrage. So I don't know if he DC'd. He is actually Choice Spec, and you can see that does a ton of damage, and unfortunately I do get burned, but I'm going to go for the Outrage anyway, and I should still take it out. So I've only got my Mega Aerodactyl now, my last Pokemon, and he has that Pelipper, that's the name, the Pelipper, and the Venusaur, which I'm actually very happy about because I do actually have Skydrop on this thing. So let's go ahead and go for a Skydrop. Hopefully the Venusaur isn't too heavy to pick up. So it does turn out to be a Mega Venusaur, which is very unfortunate because these things are absolute tanks. They get a massive increase in special and normal defense. Let's see how much the Skydrop is actually going to do. So luckily I can actually lift up that giant Toad. And he's just going to go for a sludge bomb to probably try poison me, sorry. And of course he gets the poison. I mean, why wouldn't he? So at this point, I'm just going to go straight for the Ice Fang, even though he does have thick fat. I do have the Tough Claw ability, so it should still take him out. And he doesn't. He actually lives and goes for a hidden power. And I don't know what hidden power that was, but it wasn't very effective. And it was a critical hit, funny enough. So I'm just going to go for another Ice Fang. Actually, no, I'm going to go for a Rock Slide in case he decides to switch out. So he stays in, I go for a Rock Slide and finish off the Venusaur. So he does only have that Pelipper in the background. And he's going to send it out now. So let's just go for a Rock Slide, cross our fingers and hope that it actually does land. And he does land, and hopefully it's enough to take it out. And I get the flinch. That's absolutely lucky. I don't know if the poison's actually going to take me out. I do live it. Now I need to really cross my fingers and hope the second one doesn't miss. So let's go for another Rock Slide. And I do land it, and that's game, guys. What a very interesting battle that was. So yeah, with a shiny Pokemon as a prize, he did actually stay in this entire battle. And that was a very, very great battle, if I must say so myself. So I don't want to save that replay because this is a live battle, as I said. So that was pretty fun, guys. Let's see if we can find another battle. If not, I'll catch you on the next upload.